Hey everybody, this is Perch, your one-man crusader against Arby's and potholes and lack of mufflers and whatever other dumb trivial things are driving me crazy today. Still trying to figure out a good gift for Mrs. Perch. What do you do for the woman who has everything and simultaneously married to me nothing? Eh, anyway, let's get to this. You can give me your great ideas in the comments below. All right, so let's get to this mail. It's called "Art Does Not Equal the Artist." All right, we've heard this argument a little bit before, but let's see where the mail is going with this. It says, "Hey Perch, I recently rewatched the 1995 documentary Crumb. That's a good documentary. And as someone who's a big fan of his work, but hadn't seen the film for a long time, I'd forgotten how much of a creep he comes across in it. He does. I mean, I'm a fan of his work too, but holy shit. Anyway." Obviously, I understand that his eccentricities gives his art and writing the necessary edge, but it got me thinking about how I find it despairing that so many people cannot seem to separate the art from the artist nowadays. This also applies to music, film, books, video, and games, etc. On one hand, I understand why the horrendous crimes of Ian Watkins, Barge Vickers, and Scott Kelly would taint their work in the eyes of many. Cameron Stewart, anyone. At the same time, to me, unless the work is espousing repugnant viewpoints without critiquing or examining them, such self-censorship is limiting to me. Someone working at Marvel and DC being a dick on Twitter isn't quite the same to me, even though arguably it's bad customer service. Yeah, for sure. If they were to only appreciate art made by people we approve of, then we might have nothing worth appreciating at all. Curious to get your thoughts on the matter. I definitely think, I think it goes to, what gets in your head. So this is one of those where it's not A or B, or rather, kind of people set up a bit of a false equivalency when they're making this argument. The right statement is, if you feel bad about buying something, reading something, consuming something, you're not forced to buy it. You don't have to buy it. As a customer, you can keep your money in your wallet. That's your right, and you can do it. At the same time, this does not in any way, this is really important for people to hear, this does not change the first statement. You're probably better off, just mentally and everything else, if you don't let people, whoever they are, get to you. I've had people write to me seriously, wanting, not me, the people write in the mail, I really want to go punch Mark Brooks in the face. Heather Antos, I get angry. I'm driving down the street and I get angry that Heather Antos still has a job in comics. Those feelings are not helpful to you. Beyond you saying, you know what, I don't want to take any of his bullshit. I'm not buying one of his books. Heather Antos can't take it, not buy it, not doing anything. Even feelings of loyalty. Look, if a Heather Antos writes a bunch of tweets insulting somebody you like, somebody you support, well, she's not your friend, and she's definitely not helping that person, and it's bad. You can say, I don't. This is a bunch of crap that you're doing this, but your most powerful weapon is to keep your money in your pocket. That is your weapon. Going all in no, I've got to, jihad against Heather Antos. It's not helpful to you. This is my point I've made in the past, is be selfish. Your time is valuable. You've got some of these people, who rightly so get mocked for insulting the fans and then turning around and desperately crying on a GoFundMe to get paid. Those people are hypocrites and they're miserable, and they have justified somewhere in their sad little life the idea that they can be a complete and total prick and then turn around and beg money from people. Sure, you can do that, but those people are miserable people. You don't have to be one of them. You do not have to be wrapped up in that drama. You can simply say, you know what, I'm not. You're a clown. I don't pay clowns. Moving on. That's not a bad place to be. I'm not even talking about the people who make videos and do commentary on that. I mean, you might, certainly do commentary, talk about these things, bring it up as a news item, whatever. That's fine, But at the end of the day, don't let that tip you over into, some kind of seething, nutty violence. That's not healthy for you. Not certainly not healthy for the person you don't like, but it's not healthy for you. It does come down to you at some point, your own sanity, your own mental well-being. Having a bitter feud against some rando moron who can't keep their finances in order to buy a sandwich, that's not that's not healthy. And this isn't judgment. We all slip into it. Everybody's had the moment where we've let somebody get in under our skin. That is human nature. It's natural. It's nothing to be ashamed of or shamed for. People this is why they call it pet peeve. Sometimes people get under your skin for reasons that make no sense to anyone but you, and maybe not even you. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to feel bad about it. You don't have to sit there and take a lecture for it. But if you can, you should try and get yourself out of it, because you're more effective when you're not sitting there out for revenge, unless you're John Wick, in which case your revenge is pretty effective. And but even then, he doesn't look like this is doing the best thing for his health, right? Like his whole body's all beat the fuck up, and he's drowning and other things. Anyway, right? But the point is, it is better if you can separate the art from the artist. Yes. And I do agree with what you're saying, unless the stuff like some of the the behavior of the artist, and then the artist in this case is the a penciler, an inker, a colorist, a writer, whoever it might be, unless that repugnant point of view is coming out in the work, in which case you obviously can't separate the art from the artist. There's tons of comics I like, and one of the comics I liked was Black Science, Rick Remender. Well, Rick Remender had a period of time where he kind of seemed to lose it a little bit. I mean, he was very angry. I would lose it is too strong a word. Just he was very angry, and when you would read some of his stuff outside of comics, of his comments, he didn't sound like he was having a good time. He didn't, it wasn't enjoyable to read, and he was definitely veering off in a direction that I didn't want a part of. But I still like Black Science. So what did I do? I stopped reading. I stopped reading Remender's tweets and blogs and things, and life got better. I guess if people made the argument of, well, then you're letting the writer's words subconsciously infect your brain, and or you're funding them. You're allowing them to continue to behave negatively because you're just burying your head in the sand. And that, I get it. That's true. A good way to send a message if you despise somebody's behavior is to opt out. And I will say, if the behavior gets to the point where I truly cannot feel good about spending my money, to the point of the letter writer, if I cannot separate the art from the artist, stop paying. But I try not to get there. I view it as more limiting to me if I get there than damaging to the artist. I feel like it's again, I'm giving away a lot of my power if I let somebody get under my skin to that level. And sometimes they still do. Can't help it. But we live in a time now, and it really is where social media has given us access to artists, creators like we've never had before. And consider that for a long period of time, creators would write articles or write columns or put stuff out, but it would be edited, it'd be curated. They'd look at it. There'd be a lot of adjustment to what was said. It was finely edited and constructed. And today, you don't do any of that. Today, so the artists and creators, I mean, if you went back in time to the 60s and 70s and Twitter existed, I'm sure everybody would be hated and canceled at some point. Jim Shooter would be saying something that would make everybody nuts, and there would be angry commentary on it. But we didn't have access to that part of their life, and maybe we're better for it. Not maybe, we were definitely better for it. I don't know. That's another factor in all this. So, consider it for what it's worth. Anyway, thank you very much for the mail. Separating the artist from art from the artist is not easy. I do think some people trivialize a little bit, like, oh, just do this, it'll be fine. It's not. It's not that simple. And so, we have to recognize that you can't just wave a magic wand and be like, ignore all the things you don't like, you'll be fine. That's not realistic. But yeah, curious to get your thoughts on the matter. Throw some comments in below, like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.